One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 8. So this was a great episode. I really enjoyed this one. Definitely a big improvement from last week's episode, which I was pretty critical of. But other than that, let's get into it. So we're finally getting the debut of Goketsu. He's one of my favorite monsters in the series, and he had a pretty good run in the manga. And this episode is kind of doing him well. I mean, I like the voice actor. I like how they animated him. Although they kind of cut him short, unfortunately, but, you know, that is bound to happen with the way that they are pacing these episodes after all. But I like his introduction when he just immediately home runs Snack and Lightning Max just straight out of the arena with, like, one kick. I mean, also it was established in the previous episode that Goketsu is disaster level dragon. He's the second official dragon, but the third introduced chronologically in the series. So we also have to remember that, like, he already destroyed Genos in the previous episode, so he's already established that he can easily dispatch of, like, S-class heroes like that, but that's already expected of dragons. And then he throws the monster cells out. These were also introduced in the previous episode when we saw that guy Haragiri try to convince Atomic Samurai and his boys to eat the cells, but they didn't. But it's further expanding upon the cells in this episode, so we're seeing that, like, there is a big discrepancy in the amount of power you're going to get. It really depends on how powerful you are originally as a human, so the weaker you are, the less significant of a power boost you're going to get when you become a monster. But if you're already strong as a human, you're going to become really powerful, because we saw that's what happened with Choze. And Choze was not even, like, a big deal at the tournament. He was, like, a dark horse considered to win it. And we saw that when he took the cell, he became, I guess you could consider him a demon, maybe even a high demon. And then he starts having the ability to, like, shoot energy balls and stuff. So the monster cells are pretty crazy. Then it cuts to the Monster Association, and we're seeing Metal Knight actually talking to Giro. And we're seeing that Metal Knight is still controlling his drone from a distance, of course, because Dr. Bufoy, who is Metal Knight, he never really leaves his facility. He's always controlling a drone or something, so he's never really in danger or anything. But he still is gaining some intelligence here. Way more information than what the other Hero Association members or just heroes, and maybe even the audience in general, knows. So he's getting, like, all of the demands of the Monster Association here. And what they want is, number one, to create fear in, like, the society. Number two, they want to secure a hostage. And they are confirming in this episode that they do have Waganma, the kid of Narinki, who is, like, the executive of the Hero Association. So here is, like, this is a big deal. Like, having him is pretty much like having the president's son, I guess. So, you know, it's going to be a big deal in order to get him back. Like, it's priority. And then number three, they want to turn a lot of humans into monsters. And we see them do that throughout the series so far, but it's really beginning now, because they were kind of doing it off screen. Because we saw that Goketsu, he was originally a human, and then they gave him the cell, and he became that. And then we saw that off screen, Neon, one of the Monster Association dudes that we saw, the cat anthropomorphic monster, he got all of the prisoners from Puri Puri Prisoners Prison, made them into monsters too. So they're, like, slowly amassing this army. But like I said, we found out the three goals of what they're trying to do here. So then we get Suiryu versus Choze, and it looks pretty good in the episode. I like this. I don't think it was too bad. I mean, it wasn't anything incredible like from Season 1, but for Season 2 standards, it was pretty great, and I really did enjoy it. It's also showing us that, like, Suiryu is even more powerful than what we thought originally from the previous episode, because, like, when Choze tries to stab him in the chest, like, his spikes can't even pierce his pecs. Like, that's some crazy durability. Some of the highest that we have seen so far in the series, really, at this point. But then he's also even able to tank that energy blast from Choze, too. So, like, if Choze is a demon, then Suiryu is certainly up there in power. Not necessarily a dragon, because, you know, he couldn't really do anything against Bakuzan later on this episode, but still. Another thing that I want to just point out is that when Suiryu and Choze go into that sequence where they're, like, Dragon Ball Z fighting, like, they're moving so fast that you can't see them, it's just, like, sparks of light. This is kind of lazily done, but it's fine. I get it. I understand they can't make everything perfect, but one thing that they cut out from the sequence is Bakuzan, like, tracking their movements with his 4 eyes. Like, his eyes are all moving super fast and following their movements and whatnot, and it's pretty cool in the manga, but they don't show it in the episode. It's too bad, but I get it. So then we get, like, Suiryu's redemption, I suppose. Because before this, we had kind of, like, mixed reception on Suiryu. We, like, wasn't really sure what was going on with him. But after this episode, I think it's solidifying who he is exactly. So first of all, he's defeating Choze in a pretty satisfying conclusion to their fight. So that's redeeming him because he is pretty much saving everyone at that point, or is at least trying to. And then he declines to eat the monster cell after Goketsu offers it to him. And I think that's showing us that, like, Suiryu is a good guy. He's definitely not a bad guy. I mean, he's certainly misguided off of his morals and whatnot, but deep down inside, he is a good person, and he wants to do good and do what's right. But he just doesn't know exactly how to get there on his own, I suppose. Then he challenges Goketsu and gets absolutely destroyed. Like I said, Goketsu is one of the only dragons we have seen in the series besides Boros' aliens. So he's crazy, insane powerful, like unfair levels of power. I mean, he's tanking like point blank, full effort strikes from Suiryu, like right in his face, and it does nothing to him. And all it takes is like one shot to destroy him. And then we see, like, his speed is insane. Like, I love the way they animated Goketsu's movement in this episode, because I always pictured it playing out like this in my mind after reading it in the manga. And they just done it. They just, like, took the image from my mind. It just looks so good. And really getting the point across that even though Goketsu is gigantic in stature, he still moves insanely fast. Like, the way that he was just able to instantly teleporting almost, like, behind Suiryu, and then he gives that classic "Ora dushita," you know, that Japanese line, like, "Hey, what's wrong?" So then we go to a surprisingly great moment of this episode, and it's Garou versus Watchdog Man. So this plays out differently in the anime than it does in the manga, like much differently. So in the manga, when we see this fight, it's just from a memory of Garou. It's like a flashback, but here we're seeing it happening in real time. So I think that's cool how this has a different continuity than the manga, because this sheds more light on it. Like, there's more scenes in this, like more lead up to the development of this fight than there is in the manga. Like, when Garou, like, just immediately jumps at Watchdog Man, and then Watchdog Man sniffs him, and he's like, "What are you, human or monster?" That doesn't happen in the manga, so I like that happened here. It's pretty cool. And this is the first time we're actually seeing Watchdog Man in a fight, besides from just tearing apart monsters effortlessly. But we're seeing that he is like a beast, I mean, in more ways than one. I mean, he's super fast and super strong, as stated by Garou. I mean, he's really getting hyped up in this episode. But we're seeing that he, like, instantly counters Garou's Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist. Like, before this, no one was really able to deal with this technique, but Watchdog Man, like, easily parries it. Pretty cool sequence from him. I gotta admit, they did this well. It's a pleasant surprise, I'm telling you, because it really doesn't happen like this in the manga, but I'm glad that they didn't finish it all in this episode, because of course there is more to this fight, and hopefully it's going to happen in the next episode, but look out for that. In another surprise of this episode, they actually show Moomin Rider and Tank Top Master take down the Joffrey monster in the hospital. In the previous episode's review that I did, I thought that they were going to skip over this, because they kind of just showed 2 frames of it in Suiryu's monologue at the end of that episode. So this is a pleasant surprise. It's always nice to see more Moon Rider Tank Top Master, especially in a season where everyone's kind of getting cut short of their airtime. But also we get that cool little, interaction between Tank Top Master and Moon Rider. It's like, yo, you gotta be careful for somebody who's not wearing a tank top. So after that, we go back to the Super Fight tournament, and we see Bakuzan, that dude who's been prevalent in the tournament up until now. You know, he went against Saitama and had that moment and whatnot. He decides to eat a lot of monster cells, which is out of the norm, because before this, we've only seen everybody eat one. So him eating multiple, like, almost kills him. I guess he's, like, overdosing on them. Like, if you eat too many, or maybe more than one, there's chances it's just going to reject you and straight up kill you. But it turns out good for him, and he just becomes a dragon. So he just got lucky, or his body was just strong enough, and he's superseding everyone, even superseding Suiryu, who he admitted was way stronger than him in this episode, becomes this crazy monster, and he's kind of popular amongst the hardcores, I'll say, because not because so much of who he is, just because of what he represents. He's kind of like for power scaling at least, like what the bare minimum of a dragon level could be considered. So he's constantly compared to and whatnot, but you know, sadly, he kind of gets cut short in this episode, because when he challenges Goketsu, before Goketsu throws the punch, we have this incredible sequence in the manga where, like, Bakugou throws, like, this volley of punches at Suiryu with all 4 of his arms, and I'm sorry, not at Suiryu, at Goketsu, and Goketsu blocks all of the punches from all 4 arms with one arm, and he's not even looking at Bakugou. It's really an incredible moment. It's like, it's one of the most impressive feats of power, honestly, in the series at that point. And then Bakugou, like, throws one of his elbow spikes at Goketsu, and Goketsu catches it in between his fingers, like something out of a Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movie. It's really awesome. It's just too bad that they cut it out of this episode, because it would have been perfect if they put it in there, and it feels like they had enough time. But please check out the manga. I think it's like chapter 74 or 75 that this fight happens. Please look at that. It is so cool the way that it goes down. But then after that, we're seeing, like, how crazy powerful Goketsu really is. I mean, we only kind of had implications before this, but when he's like, all right, chill out, Bakugou, because I'll do this to you, and just the force of his punch levels an entire portion of the stadium. This is crazy power. I mean, typical of what somebody who can take down an S-class hero like Genos with presumably one shot is capable of. So then Garou tells Goketsu to leave, and he pieces out of there and tries to get Bakugou to go with him, but Bakugou wants to stay back and torture Suiryu, because that's just the piece of crap that he is. And we see the iconic scene of Suiryu crying out for help, because he's somewhat found, he's had like a 180 on his character. No longer is he this playboy staying atop the world. He's all vulnerable now, and his stance on heroism has changed. Before he was like, if you're weak, you know, what's the point of trying to be a hero? You're just a hindrance to society. But now it's changed. Now he's like Sneck and Max saving him earlier. They've changed him. They reformed his ideologies on this. Now he needs a hero. Now he's okay feeling vulnerable, because he knows that there are monsters out there that not even he can take care of. But at the last moment, in a Goku-esque moment, Saitama shows up to save the day, but we don't get to see anything after that. But great ending to this episode, and I assure you the next episode is going to be just as good as this one. Like, we have some great moments coming up. And one of those moments that I can for sure tell you is going to happen, because we see one frame of it after the credits, and that's Sonic. So Sonic's coming back, and he's going to be getting into something. But that's pretty much it for the review. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm happy to hear that you casual viewers have been enjoying Season 2, but let me know what you hardcores thought about this one. At least it's, I don't know, like the second best one so far next to Episode 3, but let me know what you're thinking. If you liked the video, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A video that I do on this channel, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.